When I was 6 years old, all I ever wanted to do was to run my own sweet shop, mainly because I loved chocolate and sweets. It was genuinely the only thing that I ever thought about on a daily basis. So I'd go down to my corner sweet shop and purchase 100 penny sweets, bring them home, package them up into 3 little glass jars, and sold them at my very own sweet shop. Now, I was the youngest of a big Irish family. It wasn't that big, it was big enough. And I would sell these sweets at half the price than what I would buy them for. Now, it doesn't take a mathematician to understand that not only was I making a loss, but I had no sweets left to eat myself. This feeling at the tender age of 6, the understanding that I lost something and that it was just a devastating moment for me. But I'll never forget that. And something that was taken from me, it sparked such determination in me to never be wronged again. Today, I'm here to tell you about a painful transformation. It's still pretty raw. I'm still in it. I'm not going to lie, it only dawned on me a few weeks ago what I was going through while I fought for my business. My granddad used to call me the silent man, and true to this name, sharing was not one thing I did very well, and yet I stand here today in front of all you. So I'm going to tell you a story about a silent man who grew up and became an action man. This young sports star was destined for professional commitment. His fearless play on the pitch unfortunately led him to injury. But the seed was firmly planted for that team-playing attitude. You see, he was always on the go. Nothing could stop him. He was a machine that was programmed to be efficient and practical, and never to share unless the job was complete. He had an entrepreneurial mind. He had a passion for fitness, which led to running his own businesses and his ventures in the fitness industry. A personal training studio, an online global business, a fitness event for up to 8,000 participants. But this machine, this action man, didn't see any success story here. There was no ceiling to hit, never a moment to appreciate the little or large achievements that he had made. Incredibly high expectations with very little patience meant that he never took a moment to pause and reflect. He was a tough nut to crack, especially when asked to open, even when his wife would be knocking on his head, asking him, "Where are you, for Christ's sake?" Unit is a group training facility. We're bringing back team conditioning sport. It's an extremely powerful place to be. Our motto is "We train as one," and it's plastered up all over the walls in our studios. The message we give to our members before the class starts is to work for that person beside you. If I take an example of one style of class, you have to burn 10 calories on the rowing machine before your team member can move off their station. Now you can imagine when it's your turn on the rowing machine, you are going to go hell for leather, like you're in the Olympics, to make sure that your team member doesn't suffer and that they don't hate you for making them do that exercise for so long. There's also another exercise called the cliffhanger, and you're hanging on a set of monkey bars. And if you let go and drop to the ground before the end of the timer, the whole team is punished because of your punishment. Now, this may sound really daunting. It's like, oh, that's tough. But this is the beautiful power of accountability and working as a unit, working for that person next to you. It's not about your capability. It's more about your community and your team support. You must communicate to that person beside you to complete that class. This can make people feel extremely uncomfortable, but we think it's a good thing because it will turn you into a better athlete and it will make you a better team player. You know, the whole saying is that you're never going to change your life until you get out of that comfort zone. You see, this action man had these big, hairy, audacious goals. He didn't do self-development, or he didn't do any goal setting. Talking about himself or his feelings was not a function this machine had. What he was good at, he was good at shoveling shite under the carpet, forgetting about it, and if he trips up over it, he just gets back up and carries on, and as if nothing ever happened. Nothing slowed him down or got in his way of achieving his goals, but he had to see growth. He had to see progress on a daily basis. Not many people know about a setback I recently went through with 2 studios with great growth and opportunity knocking on our door. This all came to a screeching halt 2 years ago when 2 solicitors walked into my studio. They came in with 6 white folders under their arms, looking to stop my business from operating. They also attempted to deliver this to my home where my wife and my 3-month-old son were. What followed was a nasty legal battle preventing my business from moving an inch. I was being wronged yet again, but let's face it, it's a little bit more serious than a 6-year-old sweet shop. With Action Man now backed into his cave, his creative outlet blocked, his force was bubbling up inside. This caused his strengths to go into overdrive, which led him to be in the studio all day. And at night, he trawled through his evidence to look for proof so he could solve and finish this case. But this became his obsession. This cave became his cell for 2 years. He may have been put there due to legal reasons, but he used the cave to keep people out, to keep people away, put his family second, and kept his friends at arm's length. Doing anything at that intensity can be super, super damaging for your body, especially even if you think you have superhuman powers. With no sleep, furious venom of anger building up inside, this legal case was becoming an absolute war. If anyone tried to check in with him, he had this great ability to deflect. He was fine, get through it, always does. He'll just carry on. And people thought that. Even when he came home, his wife would read him like a book. She'd say, "So how are you?" as she tried to prise the armor off him. "Fine," as he blankly responded and carried on into his cave. You see, I love being at work. Being at the studio is such a passion of mine, and working with the staff who are super motivating, and the members, they just love being there and they love the classes. One of our leading qualities are our events. We put on team events that involve the staff and the members, creating fun team competitive events. But I distinctly remember one event that just stood out for me, and that was a 24-hour unit class for charity. I'll never forget it, a class on the hour, every hour, for 24 hours. It may sound crazy, but it was such an impactful moment for me. Being at the studio and witnessing 32 people lined up, ready to take the class, with a further 10 people looking to get in. The look in their eyes, they were enthusiastic, they were inspired, they were motivating. This was a very important moment for me, seeing these people sweating it out for the brand, sweating it out for a brand that I was fighting for. If my business wasn't doing too well, what was the point of all this? Go on, take my business. It's done. You can have it. But no, seeing these people sweating it out like this, it just gave me fuel, added to the fire. So I couldn't work on external growth in my business due to the case. So I started to focus on internal refinement. We worked tirelessly to make the brand better, like what it is today. That internal work paid off. Last summer, just a few months ago, the chains were removed. The case was resolved. Within weeks of the legal case coming to an end, Unit went from being suppressed and restricted to becoming a global franchise, opening up their first location in Munich, Germany, with a further 2 locations opening up in the coming months. So where does this leave our Action Man? He only recently emerged from his cave, taking a few steps towards evolving. The warrior's armor is loosening. Maybe it only came off last week. He stopped blindly following his shut up and get on with it, and heard words echoed around him, and considered to use the words to pause and reflect mode. And just like Unit's core principles, it's not about your capability, but more about your community and your team support. You must communicate to the person beside you to complete that class. So time for me to step out of my comfort zone. Thank you.